You know, I know we met years ago when I walked into the coffee shop and got an Americano and was shocked at how good it was. Not because I didn't think you guys make good Americanos, I'm just used to popping into random coffee shops and grabbing my coffee and going. So whenever I taste something somewhere that is excellent, I want to get to know the people behind it, and you know, not from a standpoint of sales or business. Literally, I'm just curious, right? You know, how did you get into coffee? How come you're so passionate about it? And what led you to where you guys are at today? We developed a friendship over the years just because I was selling your neighbor's house and just coming in on a frequent basis while I was working this market. I really respect watching what you guys have done here over the years, and your work ethic. Like, I've come in early mornings and you open the door for me when I was fishing. You're here early, you're here at the end of the day. So I won't put you on our platform. Our audience needs to know who you are. So give us the, you know, Spider-Man origin story. You got bit by a spider, you're obsessed with coffee. Why and how did you start the business?
It's like, I don't even know if it was exactly like that. Like, I've always liked coffee. Just, I like being caffeinated, so. Yeah. And I'm a pretty high-strung person, likes to get things done, so I do drink a lot of coffee. But when we were in Bayfield doing a different type of business, and at the time we were sort of getting involved with like tourism. Okay. And just curiosity about what was happening in the area. Yeah. And there was a lot of buzz about like, oh, these people are planting grapes. Like, there could be wineries coming, and like, oh, there's like, I think this person's like brewing coffee, or not brewing coffee, brewing beer. Yeah, yeah. Like, I think they're brewing beer like at their farm, and like, oh, I think another brewery might like happen, you know, 25 minutes from here. C4, like we're talking different areas. Yeah, so like all this, like all these rumors and like buzz was like slowly building. And mind you, at the time, nothing hardly even stayed open in the winter. Yeah. Like, it was like pretty quiet. And it was in the fall that we were having these conversations, and it was like, what do we need in Bayfield? Yeah. And it's like, well, we need a coffee shop that stays open all year, because some of us work here all year, and you know, we want to go get a coffee. Yeah. So first of all, we need a coffee shop that is open all year. Secondarily, what fits in with those tourism things like wineries and breweries? Like, what sort of is aligned with that would be a good business model? And it was like, well, what about like coffee roasting? Yeah. And then it was like, well, what would it take to do that? So we have a couple business partners that do other stuff, and some of them, like one of them spent some time researching, like a night researching, and the next day he's like, I think we can do this. Yeah. Like, I think I found a coffee roaster that we could do this, like we could try it. Like an actual machine? Like a little machine, like a little 2-pound. Yeah. We could learn on. Yeah, like basically a home roaster. And then you gotta source beans to start playing around, like mad scientists almost? Yeah, so that fall we bought it from the States, and we brought in some coffee beans. Okay. And where were the first coffee beans from? The first ones we used were similar to like the same origin as what we're using in our espresso. So we were using some Peruvian beans, we were using some Ethiopian beans. Okay. Like a Guatemala, we started trying some Guatemala beans. We were trying to do something really dark, so we were using a bean, like a fair trade organic from Guatemala at the time, that actually, like one of the roasters in the States that we were talking to for some advice was like, oh, that's our light roast. And I was like, oh, damn, that's our dark roast. I was like, oh, do you need to grind coffee? Yeah, go ahead. This is what happens when you're running a successful business. It's all good. Oh, yeah, so dark roast. So anyways, aside from that, we spent a winter just playing with the roaster and roasting beans. And like by early spring, we were like fairly confident that it was good coffee. Okay. Now, mind you, we had also drank a ton of it ourselves. And like everything that we were doing, because Sean was never a big coffee drinker, was sort of catered to my flavor, like my flavor profile. So I was like, well, this tastes good. Yeah. Like, I like this. And I was like, ooh, I really like this. And with the espresso, like, we didn't even have an espresso machine when we started. Okay. So that spring, we got our first wholesale client, which was Beans Bistro in Kincardine. Okay, of all things. And they were using, and so they were using a coffee, I think out of Guelph. Yeah. And we brought up some samples, because we're like, okay, let's just see like what the market's like. Yeah, basically door knock. I walked in and was like, here, what coffee are you trying? Try these and see like what you think. And they messaged us back and they were like, yeah, can we put in an order?
Awesome.
And we were like, holy crap, like we gotta, like we're actually a business now. Like we gotta figure out what we're doing here.
Yep.
And it kind of rolled from there. And we just started picking up clients. We moved the shop from around the corner to the front. We bought another little roaster to try to accommodate our wholesale orders.
Yep.
And then
because it grows, right?
It
like
grows,
you do
yeah.
good business with people, you deliver on what you promise you're going to deliver on. And I mean, it comes to an odd place sometimes where like you become in such demand that you're getting so many orders and you don't want to say no. How did you balance that out? Because I know sometimes like in all businesses, supply and demand, like if you don't have enough product but the orders are there, how did you navigate that?
It was, I mean, we had a couple stressful summers.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really did, because what we were using was not enough. It was enough. We met our orders, and we managed to fulfill the cafe here, like with our own coffee.
But you guys
it was
were
long hours.
No pun intended. You were grinding to get it done, right?
Like I mean, day in, day out. Like early mornings, Sean would be here late at night.
Okay.
Like we lived at the time across the street.
Yeah.
So like we'd go home and eat. He'd come back to work till like 11.
Yeah.
We'd get up and open. We didn't
And you're
even
thinking
have a
about
lot of
beans at
staff.
night.
Yeah.
Trying to get it done, right?
And it's a weird balance, because like growth in business is interesting, because there comes a time where you financially have to make decisions that you may not know what the outcome will be.
Yeah.
So it can be like, we need a bigger roaster and we need more staff. Does like the money that we're bringing in, does that make sense to make that investment? And same with the espresso machine. But then it's like, you're not going to grow without those investments. So you have to spend the money to make the extra money, you know what I mean? Like to grow. So it's a scary thing in business.
One thing I was going to point out, and I love hearing you guys say that, because we rep a lot of tenants that are in business, and we get people that call us and they're like, hey, like we're in 1,000 square feet now, we want 10. Like they're nervous because they're like, well, we're tripling our lease payments, right? Or like, what does that look like? And out of the gate, the first thing I say is, when you're coming at it with that attitude, you're going to be okay. Because you're scrappy. Like worst case scenario, you know, you'll dial back your expenses and you'll figure it out. The people I really worry about are the ones that call us for consults and are like, we're gonna grow so fast, the business is gonna roll in the door, we're not even gonna have to worry about it, and they grow too fast and then they bottom out, right? And it is a long game in the sense that, you know, you created a really cool product, you have good relationships with people, you did one of my favorite things, which is just going out and then giving something for free. I always tell people, I'm like, especially in real estate too, like in our world, and I don't really want to talk about real estate, but a lot of times, like my first year, I just went and partnered with people and did stuff for free for them, just so that I could learn. And a lot of people nowadays are just like, well, don't do anything for free, you hold value. Yeah, you do, but at the same time, like, you got to get your foot in the door. So that's step one. But then the next step that comes once you develop a business plan and you're getting through and you're getting your orders is that investment. And like, I didn't see anything on the back end. The story of this thing, I do know what it took to get it. And I watched you guys and I was like, it was almost like me watching a movie series waiting for it to show up.
Oh, it's crazy.
But this thing's a beast in terms of, you know, taking you guys to that next level. So what point did you make the decision to jump in and buy the monster machine that you have now?
We had just got through the summer, 2 summers ago. So not last summer, the summer before. We had just completed that summer with our, like basically roasting 5 pounds a batch.
Okay.
And we were just beat.
Yeah.
And I was like, listen, we have grown, like our numbers have grown. We're supporting like, you know, 2 or 3 more staff per summer than we ever have before. We increased our traffic from our move to a bigger location by like 80%, like the 2 years before that or 3 years before that.
This is a big jump.
Totally.
It's a big space, right?
Yeah. And I was like, let's just do it.
Yeah.
And then we, just like before, it's just the same but different, right?
You figure it out.
It's like, you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of challenges, you know, to having like, it's not even a big machine.
Yeah.
Like it is in roasting, in the roasting world, it's still a small, intimate cafe-sized machine, but you still have to do venting and getting it here.
The permitting process
and everything through the states.
Yeah.
And like our friend, like thank goodness for Bayfield, because everybody supports each other and works together. And like the day it was delivered, you know, like Bayfield Tree Services dad brought his like, what was it, a skid steer? To like, a hi-ho, to take it off of our friend's truck who had actually taken the delivery at their brewery.
To actually get it.
Because we couldn't take the delivery here on the main because we didn't have like tailgate service. And luckily
okay.
he was able to take it off the truck. So it came in like on the hi-ho and like swung into the door, and it's like, oh my gosh,
wow.
this is crazy. But
That's madness.
But it's just, yeah, the whole thing was an adventure. And then, yeah, using it. But after that summer, we were like, we have to make a decision. And this is one thing that I was talking to a class of business students, and they asked us a similar question, like, how did we take that leap? And you do, like, yes, you have to do a lot of stuff for free. We do events all the time that don't, like, you don't make a ton of money on doing events. You're doing it for promo, and you hope that it brings people in the door after
You're
the
like
fact.
meeting people, right? Like you literally go there to meet people, and if something comes to it, great. If it doesn't, whatever, right?
Yeah, totally. And it was like, if we took our, like, say we gave ourselves an hourly wage, or Sean had a roasting wage, and then we put a price on the coffee that reflected it, we'd be making like minus $10 a pound or something.
For sure.
And it was like, this doesn't make sense. Like, we cannot work 14 hours a day to sell pounds of coffee. You know, we have to make that jump and make an investment, and then, you know, have shorter, like a little bit shorter days and a quality of life. Because that's the whole point of living in Bayfield and having a business, is to enjoy it.
You get a beautiful, like one of the most beautiful places in the world. I mean, I was talking to Gio, and we were shooting some B-roll of the beaches, and it looks like Costa Rica today. Like that, it's that aqua blue, like it's so pretty. But you can get caught up in it where you're doing every little thing, and you got to step back. And it's funny because you guys are at that stage now too, where your staff's growing. One of my clients' kids worked for you for a summer, loved it, and I mean, you guys giving up a little bit of that control gives you a little bit more of that personal freedom. But then at the same time, because of the type of people you are, I'm sure when you're in those creative spaces and you're enjoying the beach or in the water, whatever, you get ideas. You can't stop thinking about business. Like when I paddleboard, I always come back and I grab a notepad and I just write stuff down, because it gives you the breathing space to see where the business is going to go. Because, you know, proof of concept, it works. You guys have a great client base, and you know your staff you trust implicitly, which is not something a lot of people can say. So it's kind of gives you that ability to step back and plan where you're going to go from here, right? And I guess one thing I was curious about that I want my audience to know is you have the retail location, so you're located in Bayfield. If you're ever in Bayfield, you need to come in here and try all of the candy. They have everything you had when you were a kid. The coffee and the gelato is amazing. We did the gelato at that open house the one time, and it went off really well. That's the retail component of it. You have the store now, which you moved that around for the last time I was here. That's a great showpiece. You guys have great products. The wholesale is a component of the business too, right? Where retailers can pick you guys up. Like if there's retailers around or people wanting to buy wholesale, they can reach out to you and they can pick up your product.
Absolutely. And we have restaurants, and we do bed and breakfasts, and offices, and breweries, and
all over. So that's an action item for you guys. If you're watching this and you're looking for a good coffee that you want to carry, it's an easy layup. You can find these guys online. I'm curious, if you're going to send somebody to come find you, where's the best place? Is it Instagram? Is it Facebook? Is it your website?
Anywhere is fine. Like lots of people Instagram message us and Facebook message us, but you can go on our website and just email us. Instagram's
a great way to get a hold of them. They actually DM right back pretty quickly. You know, whenever I was in here, I'd always show them a little bit of love. So I'm asking you guys to do the same. If you ever come here, please just take the time to give them a shout out and a mention online. You know, life is about people, helping people. They've been absolutely wonderful to me and my entire team every time we're up here. So I just wanted to thank you guys, and I'm excited to see what you do from here on.
Awesome.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, it's all good. John, pleasure. Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.